What's going on, everybody? It's the Bulls Show, aka Aiden, and welcome back to another video. Ladies and gentlemen, today we've got a Chicago Bulls and Indiana Pacers game reaction in which the Bulls lose in heartbreaking fashion once again, and again it's another loss to add to the tally for the Chicago Bulls. Altogether, very disappointing. It was a must-win game against the Indiana Pacers. It's a home game. You got to start winning your home games if you want to have anything, I guess, done throughout the season. Bulls couldn't do it. They did fairly well offensively, but defensively let them down once again. So we'll discuss a little bit about this game in this video. Before we get started, please like and subscribe to the Bulls Show. Turn notifications on and let me know in the comments below your thoughts about the Chicago Bulls and whether or not you believe they had a, I guess, good performance or a bad performance in this game, your player of the game performance and stuff like that. We lost this game 122 to 125. Again, very, very close game. Pretty much close competitive throughout the entirety of the game. And still, the problems that you see on a day-to-day basis for the Chicago Bulls are the things that continue to hurt us every single time. And it's no different against the Indiana Pacers. What are the two things that you probably look at from the Indiana Pacers side, and they're the reasons why they won the game? Well, there's a couple of things actually, but we're going to look at two of them really quick. Offensive rebounding, I think they offensively out-rebounded us 13-4. Big problem. And they took more shots than us. And in an environment like that, you will not win these games if you allow teams to take more shots than you and to get more offensive rebounds and second chance points than you. And that was just an absolutely massive problem that the Chicago Bulls had once again. And it's getting to the point now where I like the balance of this team, but for most of these games we're seeing these problems, and I think it's time for a lineup change again. I know it's quick, I know it's sudden, I know many people might not want to hear it, but if you actually want to continue winning, you got to find a way to fix this problem. And it shouldn't be down to one person to fix this problem, but I feel like a lineup change has to be a necessity. Again, the amount of times I've seen the Chicago Bulls play with that small ball lineup, and it feels like I'm watching the same game on repeat in many ways. Long rebounds, their players in the right positions to grab them, and the Bulls just bolting to the other side of the court, or again, just too tall. The Indiana Pacers were just too tall today. But I want to really dive deeper into this, because I think it's a huge problem what we saw with the Indiana Pacers today. Because, look, against the Raptors, fair enough. In almost every single position, they are bigger than the Chicago Bulls. You look to Phoenix, honestly, fair enough. You got out-rebounded by Phoenix. They have Kevin Durant, who's a 7-footer that moves the way that he does. DeAndre Ayton is an absolute beast on the boards. And they have bigger bodies off of their bench as well. Fair enough. Indiana, I just want to look at their starting lineup real quick, because their starting lineup was taller than ours, but I don't think it's to the point where they should be out-rebounding us offensively by 9. I don't think it's anywhere near that level. So, Buddy Hield is 6'4". You got Jordan Nwora, 6'8". You got Miles Turner, obviously, 6'11". You got Nembhard, 6'4", and Halliburton at 6'5". Now, you guys know the Chicago Bulls heights. I don't even need to bring that to the table. But that's just the starting five alone. Yes, their starting five was taller than ours with Patrick Beverley and Alex Caruso in the lineup. But you move to the bench, their tallest player, I believe, is 6'9". So that speaks volumes that Indiana were not necessarily bigger than the Chicago Bulls today. Yet they still out-rebounded us by a lot in terms of this game. How does that happen? I'll tell you how it happens. It's work rate, it's energy, and again, it's a desire to grab a rebound. This Bulls team doesn't have it. The way it's currently constructed, the way that this team is set up and lined up, we just don't have it. And that's why I think we need a lineup change. I strongly think we should have either Patrick Williams or Derrick Jones Jr. in the starting lineup now. That's how I feel. I like the balance of the perimeter offensively and defensively for this team, but again, there's a big problem that seems to be getting worse and worse by the game, and it's time to fix it. And I think we have players that can fix it. If you put Derrick Jones Jr. into the lineup, you might be able to have his athleticism play a huge factor as a power forward for this team. Patrick Williams returning to the starting lineup wouldn't be the worst thing in the world, but I think one of those two things has to happen, because Alex Caruso as a power forward with Patrick Beverley on the rebounding side is not going to cut it. And you already have the big three as well that can somewhat disappoint every single night on the rebounding side. Vucevic is not having the games that we expect from him to see. Again, That's the biggest problem for me. That's the biggest reason why we lost the game. Because we got out-rebounded offensively and we gave them more shots than we had. I think Casey Johnson said it best in a tweet. The Bulls shot 60% from the field today and we still lost the game. Our offense was not our problem today. Our offense is usually the problem. I'll say that much. Every single game, usually, we're talking about how bad our offense is. We scored 122 points in this game. Our offense was not the biggest issue. Zach LaVine was firing on all cylinders. DeMar DeRozan was getting his shots. You saw other guys get involved like Patrick Williams and Patrick Beverley and everybody else. They had strong offensive games. It was very well balanced. But that's not our problem. Our problem was that we were not good on the offensive glass. Now, if you're not going to make a lineup change, the least you could do as a coach is tell these guys to crash the boards. It's not hard. Tell them to crash the boards. Tell them to box out. I mean, look, this is standard. Like, if this was E-level in Australia, that's what we're talking about. Boxing out. You got to box out. And look, I know firsthand, I'm not an NBA player, so I don't know from their perspective, but I know firsthand when playing a basketball game, when you're versing teams that are literally all 6 foot, like 4 and above, and again, keep in mind, this is just normal basketball, this is not the NBA level when everybody's 7 feet, it's ridiculously hard to out-rebound these teams. And you feel deflated every single time they get an offensive rebound and need you 2 points. I'm sure that's how this Bulls team is feeling towards this game and towards every other game. When you're so smaller, when you're much smaller than the other teams, and you're not grabbing rebounds, and there's easy putbacks. It's deflating. It doesn't feel good. And I think in any level of basketball, when that happens to you, it doesn't feel good. So again, you got to find a way to fix these things, because you can't keep playing at this disadvantage and allowing, I guess, other teams to pick on it. We've been figured out very early. This new team has been figured out. So you got to switch it up again. In my opinion, you have to. There's no other way to put it. You've tried this small ball lineup. It works in some games. It doesn't work in others. You got to figure it out. When you're versing teams that are bigger than you, you got to pick a bigger lineup. When you're versing teams that are smaller than you, feel free to match it. I didn't have a problem with Derrick Jones Jr., I guess, somewhat playing a little bit of the small ball 5 in this game, because their tallest player off the bench is 6'9". Maybe with Derrick Jones Jr.'s athleticism, you could get away with him playing as a small ball center for some of this game. But when their bigger lineup is out there, you have to be able to match that. There's too many bad problems. If you're not a three-point shooting team, you should not be going small ball in my eyes with the way this team is. Because, again, we just don't have the players that makes them pay every single time down the floor, every single game. Alex Caruso doesn't show up and shoot amazing percentages from the three-point line every single game. Patrick Beverley is the same. Off of our bench, Kobe and Ayo and Patrick, they're all the same. They won't make you pay every single night. So if you want to go small, you have to be able to rebound in committee and run together. But we don't do that. We like to run, sure, of course we like to run. We saw it in this game as well. But we don't do things together. It seems like some people are running, some people are crashing. It's not balanced. This team needs to figure it out in that department. And I've spent literally 8 minutes talking about rebounding. But that's really what I felt like this game was won and lost. And that's why I'm very disappointed in a loss like this. Indiana now has that tiebreaker. They have now climbed over the Chicago Bulls in the standings. We have actually sit 12th in the Eastern Conference. I'm sure if anybody, look, there are certain people that said we weren't going to make the play-in. There are certain people saying we'll be a play-in team. Certain people saying we'll make top 4. Again, it was very, very divisive at the beginning of the season. I think most Bulls fans, if you ask them at the start of the season, would you be 12th at this point in the season? I would say maybe 80% of Bulls fans would say no. That's my honest opinion. I think 80% of Bulls fans would say absolutely not. We will not be 12th in the Eastern Conference considering where we were last year. Yes, we might be a play-in team. That is expected. At the end of the day, we had a very, very bad end to the season, but we will not be 12th in the Eastern Conference, and that's where we are. So we're slowly and surely falling out of the play-in tournament now. Being 500 isn't enough. We've been 3-3 since the post-All-Star break, and we've fallen in the standings. So at the end of the day, being 500 isn't enough now. If you really want to be a contention for a play-in spot, you have to keep on battling and winning these games. Losing at home is unacceptable. Losing at home to a team that's a competitive rival for you guys at this point is unacceptable. And of course, fair play to Indiana. They played a great game. Their bench was good. Their starting lineup was good. Tyrese Halliburton with the incredible three-point shot to end the game. Look, that three-point shot was amazing. You can't take anything away from how deep that three-point shot was and how he was able to make it. That's a killer shot by a fantastic player. In no means am I trying to discredit the Indiana Pacers here. I'm targeting a Bulls problem that Indiana exploited massively. And every team has exploited massively in our wins and our losses. So that's what I'm trying to target here. And I need to see this Bulls team change that, so we don't get caught out or found out really quickly like we did today. And it's very, very disappointing in that regard. And I don't know how many games I could continue to watch the Bulls get out-rebounded. I do not like this small ball lineup. I gave it a chance. I like the balance of it. Perimeter defense-wise, I think it's very, very good. But there are clear problems with it. And again, it doesn't work against every team. Until Billy Donovan can realize that, I don't know what else to say. He's the head coach of the Chicago Bulls. He needs to understand. And I'm pretty sure he said it himself. There are some games he's going to have to start Patrick Williams. He did it against the Suns. It doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense. My mind is blown. Anyway, it is what it is. I'll end this video here. My must improve is... I don't even know. My player of the game is Zach LaVine. I think that goes without question. He had an incredible night. And if it wasn't for him, we probably would have got blown out in this game. So congratulations to Zach on another great game. Disappointing that the Bulls couldn't pick it up with a win as well to obviously help you in that regard. And yeah, our next game I believe is against the Denver Nuggets. Speaking of a big team, that's going to be a problem. I think Denver is going to be a matchup nightmare for the Chicago Bulls. I'm not looking forward to facing Denver. And again, it's not... A lot of people will say Jokic will drop 30 on us and then triple-double and whatnot. I'm pretty sure last time we versed Denver, Jokic didn't even crack 10 points. But he got like 10 or 15 rebounds or something like that and a bunch of assists. He dictated the game from the center spot and no one could stop it. And all of their points came ridiculously easy. I remember that game, Zach LaVine and the Bulls coaching staff saying that the Bulls didn't come with enough energy. And that was a big problem for the Bulls at that time. I don't think that's going to be a problem for the Bulls this time out. I don't think we're going to come out and have all of our energy drained away from the game. I truly believe we will have energy to win this game. But I just think the matchups are going to be very, very, very strong on Denver's side. They have bigger bodies. They have excellent three-point shooting. They have an MVP caliber center that can dictate a game. It can also take games into his own hands from the offensive side and scoring-wise. So that's going to be a huge problem. And again, I'm not sure if the Bulls can overcome what Denver can bring. I think Denver are a sleeper pick, which is surprising because they've been fairly the most consistent team this season. They're a sleeper pick for a championship. I don't know how we're going to approach that game. I don't know how we're going to win that game. Can we beat Denver? Probably. We've beaten them in the past with a very similar team, but this is obviously not the same Denver Nuggets team consistency-wise. They play much more consistent this season. So we're in for a rough game, and I'm petrified. We'll wait and see what ends up happening. Yeah, but thank you guys for watching. Please like and subscribe if you're new, and I'll see you in the next Chicago Bulls video. Stay safe, stay healthy, stay tuned for more. Take care. And peace.